Good evening everyone and welcome to Patchwork Cutters Club. My name's Tracey Mann with the silly hat on her head, although I do believe I have a different hat on from last time, but it's very cold, so I hope you don't mind. I always paint in the winter with my hat on because it does get exceptionally cold if you're sitting still all the time, and this works really well for me. So welcome to this evening's demonstration. I'm going to be doing one on Christmas painting tonight, so I've been looking through all the bits and pieces that I've got from Marion. From Patchwork Cutters, and I've got all sorts of things that I've pulled in from various different kits, and I've made up a bit of a picture. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. So we're not focusing on one particular set. I've got little bits out of other sets and put them all together, so you'll be able to see what I've done shortly, and I'll just explain a little bit more about what I've achieved, I hope. Right, I've just got my laptop set up next to me, so I'm just going to double check that I've gone live. There I am. The silly woman with a hat on her head, that's me. Okay, this is my last live on Patchwork Cutters this year, so we are concluding now. This is the end, not the end forever, but certainly the end for this year. So thank you very much to everybody who has watched me whilst I've stepped in for Marion falling over and hurting herself, which we started at the beginning of September, October time. And I've been doing lots of painting for you since, so you've seen lots and lots of different things appear. That's what I teach, that's what I'm all about. That's being able to show you for the beginners, and I know now there's quite a few of you hooked. I've had a few of you on the phone telling me you're hooked, so that's good because we want you to try something different. And we are running a beginners cocoa butter painting course in January, so if you want to jump on board with that, you will need to go to my cake school. There we go, I'll put that up there for you. And we're going to be doing beginners cocoa butter painting as a challenge in January. So if you fancy stepping outside of the boundaries of Patchwork Cutters and have a go at something else as well, then we have got that starting in January as well. So all the New Year's resolutions and stuff, you know, we all start off with these New Year's resolutions, don't we? Well, I've only given you 6 weeks to complete it. You haven't got a whole year. You might actually complete this one. You know what it's like, you set yourself up and then you go, yeah, I've not managed that again. So this one I'm hoping will be something that can be achieved. So there we go. Right, okay, so we've got lots of people logging in now. So I'm going to show you the cutters that I've used tonight, just to explain which sets they've come from. As I say, I haven't taken them all from the same set. I've taken some from different sets, so you may have some of these sets, you may not have some of these sets. We'll see as we go along. I think I've got most of my equipment here. I'm sure I'll be shuffling around looking for bits and pieces as I go, but I think I've got the majority of it here. So Marion has been doing her lives during the day, as have I as well, but I thought tonight I will do an evening one just to catch some people in the evening who aren't able to watch during the day, so that you are able to watch live as well. But going forward for Patchwork Cutters, we will vary our times when we're going to be live, so we're not going to do anything very predictably. Of course we're not. So you will need to make sure that you keep an eye on the page and the events page so that you know when they're going to be live. So if you see Marion put up one of her Patchwork Cutter live events, make sure that you press your going or you're interested, then you will get the notification when we go live. So that's really important. So make sure that if you see those coming up, that you do that, because then you'll get reminded that we're live, because we're not very predictable on here. It's when we're available. So if you can do that, that will help us and help you as well, not to miss out. Right, okay, let's have a little look at what we're going to do tonight. So I have got a little selection of bits and pieces here, and I'm just going to show you what they are and where they've come from. So this has been the infamous Reindeers, which everybody has loved to bits. And what I've done with this tonight is I've actually taken a section out of it. So I've removed this reindeer here. And what I've done is I've cut it out with modelling paste with Saraceno I've used specifically, and which you'll see all of this in a minute, but I'm just going to talk my way through the pieces I've used and the reasons why. So when you look at this, there's two reindeers and behind him, and then the one at the front. Now I've gone for the one at the front because he's complete, and I've cut him out because I want him to sit in front of something. So I've done everything else I've embossed, but him I've actually cut him out completely. So because there's lots of bits and pieces going on with this, when you look at the cutter, it can be quite difficult to see. I have rolled my paste out over this cutter and then run my finger around the outside edge of the deer, so I can then find where the bits are and then pulled it back. And then if I've needed to cut or trim anything further, I've just done that with a little sharp knife, and actually I didn't find it too bad at all. So that is the patchwork cutter for the deer. So that's one we're going to be using, or the reindeer I should say. This one will be familiar to some of you. So this one is the lamppost that comes from Countryside set, which is a very nice set as well. It has a tree and a picket fence and all sorts of different things in it. I find it's quite good for background things, this set. You've got lots of different elements in there that you can certainly use across other designs. So there's lots of other things that are in that set. I'm just seeing, oh, I've got it right next to me. Oh, that's handy. So this is Countryside. So they've got there's a nice big tree in Countryside. And what else you got in here? There's some little hearts and some grass. That's handy. Grass is always handy. And there's a smaller tree there. So just kind of depending what you're doing. There's a cloud as well. I'm always a bit nervous about showing some of these sets online because I'm a bit of a monkey for muddling things up. I should have stuck with the golden rule of keeping everything in its packet, which I do strongly recommend. Don't do what I do, because I chuck it all in a bag and then regret it. So yeah, don't do that. So that's come from the Countryside set. Then I've got these two here. Now this is a candy cane and this is a bauble. Now these are from Christmas Midi. So Christmas Midi is just lots of miniature little Christmas items, and I've used these two in tonight's dem as well. And then this little chap down here is the snowflake from the Stag and Snowflake set, which is this one here. So this is the one that's got all the snowflakes in it. So even if you don't use the stag, it's got all the snowflakes. But I have actually used the stag before. There is a YouTube video of me using the stag, and it's a really, really nice one to do. So again, if you wanted to do that, instead of doing these sort of Bambi-looking reindeers, you fancy doing something a bit more serious-looking, then you'll need this set instead. So very similar principle to what I'm doing tonight. You can do a stag and snowflake, but it just won't be quite as Bambi-like, because Bambi's probably the best thing I can say here, in comparison to this one. So that's that one there as well. Right, okay, so I've got that all sorted. So let's see what I've done. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Let me bring I'm going to put myself back on screen a second while I just move everything out of the way. Chuck them all back in the bag. Don't tell Marion. I do regret it, honestly. Every time I go, why did I do that? It's so silly. But I do. So there we go. Right, I'm just going to bring my camera forward a bit because for some reason it seems to be on the other side of the room. It feels like it. Right, let's get the cocoa butter set up. So we have got under here a tea light. In fact, I've put a brand new one in because it's so cold at the moment that I want to try and make sure my metal paint palette stays as hot as possible while I'm live to make my life a little bit easier. And then I'm just going to put some cocoa butter callets under here. So they come in this 100-gram bag. There we go. And they're just little tiny buttons. You can see them starting to melt. I normally put in a couple of on each side. This bag lasts you ages. It goes on and on and on. Right, so colours this evening. So we're using dusting colours. There we go. So we're going to use white. That's our big one. And then we're going to use black. We'll put that on the other side. We won't have that near the white. Keep that over there. There we go. And we've got brown. So we'll put that near the black, shall we? So these are all sugar flare colours. Okay. And we've got a bit of tangerine going on in there. So we sell a beginner's cocoa butter painting kit, which lots of you have now gone out and bought because you are getting ready to do some painting. Some of you have already been painting avidly, which has been lovely to see. So we've seen lots and lots of the results of your painting that you've posted on the group, which is lovely. So do keep posting those on there so we can have a look at them. We're going to use Wonder Dust Bright Gold as well. Excuse my packaging because obviously it gets quite a hard time here. So this is a really nice colour as well. We've got this on our site. We use this a lot. Put that on there. And then we've got another colour to introduce tonight. Now this is called Wonder Dust Fine Silver. Again, sorry about the packaging. I've got to actually remember if this one's got anything in it now. I've just suddenly picked it up and thought, oh, I've got anything in this. Oh, I think this might be a new one. Look at that. Result. Look inside of there. How sparkly is that? Very, very sparkly. For those of you that have seen some of my work in the past, we use this on the Imperial Crown at Jubilee. So this is a very, very sparkly dust, this one. I will be wearing that later on, no doubt. And then one more, which is called Wonder Dust Snowstorm, which is another really nice colour. And this is good for sort of blinging up snow and things. So we're just going to use a bit of that tonight as well. So we'll pop that on there. And that's everything that we need for tonight. Okay, so if you have any questions while I'm painting, do please let me know. And I'll be more than happy to help you. Right, okay, so let's move these across. Also, we've got our paint brushes. So I've been painting earlier today, so I need to just give them a quick clean. I'm not going to use too many large brushes tonight because the painting on here is very small on my projects. I'm just going to quickly clean these ones up. So we've got paint brushes with numbers on them. There we go. You can see the numbers just about on there. This is quite a difficult one to see, this number 2 brush, because I use it a lot. So I've got paintbrush number 2, number 1, 0 and 0, 0. So we're using sort of a fair range of the brushes tonight. We've got 4 that we use mainly all the time. What I'm doing at the moment is just very quickly cleaning my brushes. So I'm just bringing that round here so you can see what's going on. So I've got a bit of a kitchen roll going on here. Take my cocoa butter and just wipe them on there. That just checks the brushes are clean. Because sometimes I've been painting, which actually is most of the time. So sometimes, most of the time I go live and go, oops, I haven't done my brushes. So there we go. So we've got our brushes all sorted now. That one's got some red in it, I think. So we'll get rid of that. Okay. All right. So we do need a little bit of kitchen roll as well, just to be able to clean your brush as you go along. Right. Okay. Where have we got to? Let's bring this in. Let's see what I've done. Let's do something different. So this is our project tonight. So we're going to do something on a navy blue background. So I've gone dark tonight because I thought I would just show you some painting on a different colour, because I've done everything at the moment on pale blue or white. And I thought, and I did a pale green as well, and I thought it might be quite nice to show it on a navy background tonight. So something a little bit different. So there's the lamppost from the set I was talking about earlier, the countryside set. Now, of course, I want the reindeer to be sitting in front of this or underneath this lamppost. So if I emboss it over the top, what's going to happen is the embossing marks will show through the lamppost, and I won't get that feeling of the lamppost being behind the reindeer. So that's why the reindeer is being cut out, not because I fancied it being white and everybody could see it, but that's the reason why I've done it. So it does look a little bit different. The 2 decorations here are kind of this Christmas midi, and I kind of had this idea where you see these large decorations sort of in the snow. So that's what they're there for. And then we've obviously got our snowflakes up there as well, and we'll do other bits and pieces to bling it up as we go along. So loads of you have bought the reindeer, and I thought, do you know what, we'll do the reindeer, just one of the reindeer again, because it is so lovely. But we'll also try and incorporate it into a little bit of a scene, and we'll use some sort of darker colours and see how we get on there. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is paintbrush number 2. So I'm just going to move that across a tiny little bit, turn this around. Am I going to use paintbrush 2? No, I might use paintbrush 1 actually. Okay, here we go. Changing my mind already. Right, so just check there's no colours in there, which there isn't. What we're going to do tonight is apart from putting it up there a little bit, we're going to grab some of the black, and we're going to grab a bit of white, and we're going to make a silver colour. Okay, so we're going to just black and white. Can't go too wrong with that, can you? That's fairly straightforward. I wouldn't ever bother to buy grey dusting colour. I think that's ridiculous. I think you just literally mix black and white. I can't imagine why you would need to do anything else. So we're just going to come down here to start with. Now as I paint this, it should start to stand out a lot more. So at the moment it's quite dark. I'm also going to turn it round so I can actually get to it where I need to be. So this is upside down for me, and it's upside down for you. Now the problem I had in here the other day, it was so cold that the cocoa butter was setting faster than I could actually paint it. So I'm hoping with a new tea light I might stand a slight more chance than I did on Saturday, because on Saturday I was really struggling with it because it's so cold at the moment. Because obviously the minute you take the heat away from it, then it starts to set. So you can imagine the minute I remove it from this palette, it's cold. So it was causing me a few problems on Saturday. So I've decided to put in a much stronger tea light, so a brand new one, and hopefully that will get me through this demo. That's the plan anyway. Right, okay. So we'll just work our way down here to start with. So we're going to do a silver lamppost, I decided earlier today, after discussing it with Madam Kelly. Kelly's not here with me at the moment, but she is watching at the other end, hopefully. Pretty certain she was. So she's at home, so it's just me tonight. And those of you who haven't heard me talk about, Kelly's my daughter, and she normally helps me on Saturdays with links and things. And if she's not around, then I have Nikki on, which I think she is on at the moment, and Nikki helps with links as well. So if you're struggling to find anything, they hopefully will help you. But yes, it's very cold at the moment. Normally in the summer, we're having the other problem where we can't get the stuff to dry. And in the winter, we got the reverse. Everything's drying so quickly that the only way to get round it is to paint it in small patches. So literally do a little bit at a time, go back, get more paint, have another go, and just keep working through it that way. In sort of normal season, when it's not totally freezing, it's nothing like this. It's just being a pain at the moment. So now, if you wanted to paint this before you put the reindeer on, you can. So if you wanted to just paint the lamppost and then put the reindeer on, you could do it that way. You don't have to do it the way I've done it. I've just done it like this because I wanted to set the demo up. Just going to turn it back round again because I need to get my paintbrush in that gap there behind the reindeer. There we go. But yes, it is drying very, very quickly. It's good if I need it to dry quickly. Thank goodness. Right, so we've got more lampposts down here, so we'll just carry on in this little gap here. Let's turn it back around again. I'm trying to make it easy for myself. So put that in there. I just think it looks quite nice having the reindeer sitting forward in front of the lamppost. That was my idea anyway. And he's sat on a little bit of snow here. There is actually some snow here, and I thought I'm not going to bother to cut that off because actually we can just incorporate that, so it's fine. Not a problem. There we go. And it's completely dry already. What a surprise. Okay. Everything is going to dry very, very quickly tonight. So there we go. All right. So you can see that a little bit more clearly now. That makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? Okay. Right. What we're going to do now is we're going to grab some white. Like so. Just a little bit of white. Get that mixed up. Do you know, I've got a heater on in here. It's not making any difference whatsoever. I think my hands will be blue by the end of this. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to paint the snowflakes. So I'm still using paintbrush 1. Having said that, if I wanted to switch down to a thinner brush, I can. So if I wanted to, I might switch down to 00 actually. Why not? Because it just makes my life a little bit easier. There we go. So if you want to get into the really fine detail, then a smaller brush is very helpful for that, because some of the details on the patchwork cutters are very fine, and so having the right brush is very important. All right, don't underestimate the value of having a decent set of brushes, and you only need one set and you just have to look after them, so don't use them for anything else. And the only reason I've got multiple brushes is, I keep saying before in lots of my other lives, is because I lose them. Oh dear. Right, okay. I'll do the next one. So this is just white. So obviously that's going to have high impact on the navy blue, isn't it? So they're going to really stand out. So in Stag and Snowflake, there are, where is it? I'll put it next to me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different snowflakes of various different sizes. So you can vary your snowflakes if you want to. So you don't have to do them all the same. I've done mine all the same. I don't really know why actually, but I decided that's what I wanted to do. But you can use some different ones if you fancy doing some of the different snowflakes in there. They're good for cupcakes because they're not too big. Also cake boards, if you want to paint a cake board. You can use snowflakes for things like that as well. And it does have the other stag in it. So this is the people who prefer the non-Bambi look. Then you can use that as well. But what I'm trying to show you tonight is the impact of using a dark colour background versus using a light colour background. So we're going to imagine now that it's night time and the reindeer's outside, you see. Sat under a lamppost, looking at all the Christmas decorations that are outside. There we go. And it's snowing. We can all relate to the snow at the moment, so I think that's quite a good idea, isn't it? So we'll go down there, and that way. Let's turn that round again. You notice I keep moving things, okay? So whatever you do, don't just leave it in the same position. Move it around and just keep making it as easy as you can to get to all the detail, okay? So I can turn it round. It does feel like you want a conveyor belt the whole time, but it's fine. But I do the white first because I've got no other colour in my brushes at the moment, so that makes sense to do this first. The minute I start adding in colours, then it becomes a little bit more tricky to wash them out more carefully. I've got a lump of white in there now. Right, there we go. Right, down there. See how nice they look already? They really stand out. And you can always paint your own. On one of the lives I did paint my own snowflakes because I completely forgot that they were actually in one of the other kits. And it's only when I started doing it I thought, oh, I know, there's some of these in the other kit. What am I doing? Right, now, while I've still got white on the go, I'm just going to do the start of this candy cane, which is white and red. So I'm going to, I've got my 00 brush. I'm just going to put a tiny speck of white in there if I can actually get some off my brush without it setting. Let me see if I can get a bit more out. There we go. Right, let's start this off. So every other one of these is going to be white. Yeah, I'm really up against it because it's so cold at the moment. It's setting very quickly. So I'm putting extra cocoa butter onto my brush and I'm working quickly or as fast as I can. So that's going to be red. Let's work this out. So red, white, red. Hold on. Let me think about this. Red, white, red. Red, sorry Tracy, get your brain in it. Red, white, red, white, red, white. Sorry, I was counting incorrectly then. I didn't actually mention in the evening that my brain switches off as well. I'm more safer in the daytime, Dems, I think. All right, there we go. That's better. I had to think about that for a minute. And there's another one. So it's quite small, but it's very sweet. Now, we used these on gift tags last year with the Christmas MIDI. We made little gift tags, and then what we did is we put them onto cupcakes. So if you have the Christmas MIDI set, you can use them to do cupcakes. They're really quite good for that. There we go. That'll be fine. Right, okay, so we've done all the kind of white bits that we need to do for the moment. Have I got my hat on? Yes, I have. Too right, I've got my hat on. I'm not painting in the cold. Definitely not. Right, let's put that on there. Right, I've done that bit. Let's have a look at, I don't want to call him Bambi, but he looks like Bambi. Let's have a look at the reindeer. So I've got white on this brush. I'm not going to wash that off. I'm going to just dip that into the cocoa butter and grab some brown. I know a colour I've forgotten to put on here now. I've just spotted, but I'll find that in a second. And a little bit more white. So we'll just make like a pale brown colour to start with. And then what we'll do is we'll start painting the reindeer. So we're going to go from his ear. So he's wearing a hat, as all reindeers do, of course. So we'll just take that down there. So we're just painting over this in white. I don't want to make this any harder for myself, so I thought I will just cut this out in white modelling paste. I didn't need to cut it out in, navy blue. Make it harder for myself. Absolutely not. Okay, I've just clipped that bit there, but that doesn't matter. We can come back and sort that out later on. All right. Do you know, I'm going to have to remember this in terms of it being cold, because in the summer when it's hot, we always go, oh, we're going to really struggle to do dem today because it's so cold, so hot, sorry. But I think this is the first time it's been so cold that it's difficult. Oh, this is one of my better ideas. Right, let's go down there. I'm not 100% sure I'll end up painting this the same way as I did the other one, so we'll be working it out as we go through, but everything is setting very quickly. Let's have another go with this. Right, okay, so we're going to come down this side. Go back over there, under his chin. So he's got a bell round his neck, I think, by the looks. I should know because I've painted this once before already, but I've painted so much else, I forgot what he had round his neck, but he has. Let's get some more cocoa butter. Just check that. I know the candle is still lit. Brr. Does make shading a tad more difficult. But we will manage. We will just keep going. There we go. I was painting on Saturday and I said to Kelly, oh my goodness, I'm really struggling with this. And she looked at me and as if to say, why? How's everything setting? Help. And there we go. So a little bit less, I think that's the answer, isn't it? More cocoa butter and keep going back and refilling your brush more than I would normally. There's his foot. Let's catch that. Back we go again. I can't believe how quickly it's drying. It's just phenomenal. Okay, a bit more cocoa butter. So I'm probably using a little bit more cocoa butter than normal, maybe. There we go. And then we'll do the whole tail and then we'll come back and shade it a little bit. We'll just get the whole thing done for now because then he'll stand out a bit better and you'll be able to see him hopefully. Hopefully on camera. Let's bring that down there a little bit. That'll do for the moment. And I'll make some more decisions shortly with him. Leave it like that. There we go. Yeah, the paint is going on really, I mean, literally I'm taking it off there, putting it on there, vroom, dry. It never does that. So it's very cold at the moment, but that's okay. Right, where's the colour I want? Let me have a little rummage. There it is, that's handy. Found that quickly. Cornish cream. And the other colour I want actually is that one. Blush pink, a little bit of blush pink as well. Put a tiny bit down. Don't need very much, but I'll always end up pouring out more than I need, if it doesn't matter. There we go. Okay, right, let's put that back in there, see what we've got. Right, so what do we bravely tackle next? So I've just cleaned my brush up, and I think what we'll do is we will just do the fur on the hat here because I missed that bit of white earlier. So let's do that next, and then we definitely haven't missed it. So we're just mixing up some more white. And I'm literally just going to stipple that straight over the top of this hat piece here. I've missed the back of his ear, I've just realised. I'll do that in a minute. Okay, so just even though it's white on white, let's just do it, and then we've got some painted texture going on there. Okay, and also I just need to paint the inside of his eye with white on both sides. There we go. Okay, I can't exactly remember what I did with the reindeer paint, the original one. I'll have to dig it out in a minute. Okay, right, let's do the hat. Let's turn that round. Round we go. I'm just going to start mixing the red, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to mention delivery. So, there's no Royal Mail tomorrow, no more Royal Mail on Thursday. So there is now 2 days of strikes. we will still continue to send stuff, but I can't guarantee you'll get it in time for Christmas because of the disruption. So please, now it is at your own risk. So if you are ordering anything for Christmas, it is at your own risk. So if you don't get it before Christmas, then I'm sorry, but I can't help that because the Royal Mail is obviously in charge, not me, and they're doing what they're doing. So if you want to order any of this stuff, you'll have to use it next Christmas. That's what I'm going to say. We are sending stuff out, but if we send anything out tomorrow, it's not going to get to you. It's not going to start going through the system until Friday. Now you've got another week then before Christmas, but I suspect there's probably yet more strikes that are going to be coming as well. And also the railways on strike do affect Royal Mail as well. So it's all a bit of a mess at the moment, but I'm just telling you now that if you've fallen in love with this and you want to have a go at it, that please, I can't guarantee you'll get it now. We did look at Every, so we looked at using Every service, but unfortunately now we're getting emails from them saying they're overwhelmed using some of the other stuff that we've got, and I thought, you know what, I'm quite glad we didn't go with them now because they're just as bad at the moment. So I don't think anyone's a winner in this particularly. It's just been a bit of a nightmare. Right, I'm just going to do the back of that ear there because I missed that bit. That's right, and then just missed the back of his bottom as well. Dearie me. There we go. Right, so he's got a hat on his head, as all deers have a hat on their heads, don't they? It wouldn't be the same, would it, if he didn't have a hat on his head? Right, okay. Let's have a little look. I'm going to bring the rest of this colour down, actually, for this one. I'm not going to do it like that. So as you can hear me, I thought process out loud here. No, I'll do the Cornish cream. I'll stick with what I originally planned. Okay. Oh, yeah, behind the back of his bell, there's a bit of a foot. Just there. A little bit there. We're going to do some more shading later on because he doesn't look very good at the moment, but he will improve, don't worry. He will when he's had a makeover. Right, let's turn this round. Let's grab some of this Cornish cream colour. So again, this is another Sugar Flare colour. And let's grab some white. I use Sugar Flare because I know the colours. I've been using Sugar Flare colours for my whole cake decorating career and I know them really well. So I feel really confident in recommending them and knowing that they will do the job that I need them to do. And I know what the colours are. So that is why I like them. So just go round a bit of his face here. So we're just separating his mane and the tail, and we're going to do the back of his tail as well in this colour. We just paint over the brown we did earlier. Go. And again, we'll come back to that later on. We'll give it a chance to settle down. We'll come back to this. Round we go again. I'm only doing this so I can warm my hands up. That's why I'm using it. I'm going to warm my hands up on the tea light. Right, so I've got some brown, but I'm making it a little bit darker now, and we'll just do his nose. Well, we've got it here. And we'll do his hoof. We can only see one. So we'll do that one while we're there. There we go. You're looking lovely. And then I think we will change that later on. I might change my mind about that other ear actually, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I think I wanted to have this bit at the top here brown and then maybe go pink in the middle. We'll let that dry. Not that that's going to take very long. And then we'll tackle that other bit there and just catch that bit down there at the bottom. Lovely. Okay. I'll change my mind about the eyes as well and just make that a little bit whiter on the whole socket. Right. Ooh, it's cold. I'm not going to keep saying that now. I'm going to move on. Where have we got to? Right, little chap. Let's do some more red. So what brush have we got here? Okay, let's go back to 00. Okay, let's grab some of this. So red with white in it. All right, so not just red on its own, but red and white. And then we're just going to very carefully picking up some of the red. So you can see that it paints nicely over the top of dark colours. So you don't need to worry about your background being a dark colour and you're not going to be able to see these colours, because clearly you can see them. So don't be frightened to paint on dark colours. Okay. And again, you could cut these out, and if you wanted to, you don't have to do them, emboss them in like that. The only reason I've cut the reindeer out is purely because I wanted to put it in front of the lamppost. So this is coming out like a sort of a salmony pink colour, and then we'll paint over it again. I was going to say when it's dried, but it's dried immediately. As fast as I'm putting it down, it's drying. Let's get some more cocoa butter going. There we go. And then round there. I've put too much cocoa butter down. I've gone the other way now. Okay, there we go. Right, let's go to this other side while we've still got this in action here. And we can just do the alternate one on here. So let's make this a little bit darker. So when you put the first layer down, if you start a little bit lighter, you'll be able to see it. And then we can always go darker later on. So I've got a big lump of red there, that's not very helpful. And there. So we've just got some sort of random decorations in the garden with the reindeer, of course we have. Like so. There we go. I like a good old candy cane. Kelly likes candy canes. Right, and then we'll paint the bow, and then I think that will be everything painted, and then we can start with the magic. The first layer of paint always seems to take forever, and you think, oh, I'm not happy with this, and then all of a sudden it changes. So we'll go with the all of a sudden it changes mode at the moment. So this is the bright gold. This is the Wonder Dust Bright Gold, which is a fabulous colour. So we're going to get that on. It covers really well. Probably only need one layer with this, whereas some of the other dusts you're definitely going to need more than one. Let's turn that round. Like so. Across the bottom. Again, turn it round. Make it easy for yourself. Oh, what have I done? Silly me. Right, I've made a mistake, so let's get that off. Right, it will be set by the time I get to it. We'll try and pull that off with a bit of cocoa butter. If we can't, we will put a nice big blob of snow there. That's what we will do. But if I'm really quick, then I should be able to. There you go. How about that? Magic. That's taken that near enough off, but we will be putting a little bit of snow there to cover that up further. Snow, add flowers, add butterflies, anything that you need to cover. That's what I say. And then we'll do a bow similar colour on the other side as well. I think in the process of me doing that, I may have changed brushes, but that's okay. I think I might have picked up brush 1 now. We all make mistakes. I've been filming another cupcake bouquet today, and I did make a big mistake in the middle of it, and I carried on filming because I wanted you to see how to get out of it. So I'm not trying to hide behind. Everyone makes mistakes, and I thought, you know what? You'll learn more if you make a mistake. And I want to show you that I make mistakes too, because it's important to learn how to get out of them. So there we go. Right, let's turn that round. Down there. Like so. Cross that one there. What are we doing up there? Okay, lovely. There we go. Right, we just need to go back to this bauble over here. Don't want to forget that. Right. Let's go in here. Yes, my teaching school is not, you know, immaculately organised surfaces and everything going well. A lot of the time, if I make a mistake, I will completely own up to it and tell you how to get out of it. So I think it's quite important. I think it's good to be normal. So we're still going to mix some more white up here. I've decided I'm going to go white down here. So this is the last bit to paint for the first time, I think. Yes, it is. And then we can start adding in some different things. Down there. You could always make these gold if you want to, or you could put a pattern on them, or we might make our silver later on. We'll see how it dries first. Well, we know it dries, there's no question about that. There we go. And this one. And then we can fiddle around with these as we go a bit later on, so we don't have to kind of sort it all out in one go. Right, there we go. All right, so everything is painted now. So that's our starting point. And now we're going to start blinging it up and changing it and making it lovely. I haven't done the bell. I've just missed the bell, which I should have done in gold. So let's do that. I missed my bell. So the bell round the reindeer's neck, we'll do that in gold. There we go. And his chain around his neck. I'll do that in gold as well. Okay, again, that's fine for the moment. We'll come back to that later on. Right, okay. So we'll start with the, do you know, while I've still got white on here, I'm going to just put a bit more snow down. So I'm just going to mix up some more white. So I'm going to go over this to start with. Which is the bit of snow that we left on from the patchwork cutter. And we'll just kind of make it so it looks like it's sort of coming down a bit. Right, grab a bit more of this. And then really wanted to make these look like they were really sat in the snow. So, you know, like you have get those kind of outdoor decorations, those kinds of things. That's what I wanted these to look like. Not just sort of floating objects, but those kind of decorations you see in people's gardens. That kind of thing. A bit more snow around the base of the lamp. A bit behind it as well. Okay, there we go. So we're getting a bit of a scene coming on now. A bit of a snow scene. Take that to the underside of this decoration as well, kind of semi bury it. There we go. All right. So we've got that first layer down, so we don't have to worry about that until we come back to it. Right, let's clean our brush up again. Let's go back to the silver. Let's go back to this up here. So we're going to do a couple of things here. With the lamppost, first and foremost, we're going to make it a little bit darker. So we're going to grab some black, make this a little bit darker. And we're just going to come down one side of it. haven't put my light in it yet, I've just realised as well. I need to do that. I don't think shading and blending is going to be that easy tonight. What have we got there? That'll do. Right. A bit more than we had before. I'll come down this side. Oh, it's gone a bit dark. Oh, a little bit too dark. Well, that's okay. There we go. A bit darker in that side. A bit darker up there. And then obviously a little bit darker down here where it's behind the reindeer. Let's blend that through a bit. Well, we're trying to blend it. We can't blend a lot today because it's it's not having it. There we go. Now we'll sharpen that up a tiny bit more. Having to work quickly today. Super quickly. Much quicker than usual. There we go. All right. Right, that makes that look a bit more 3D, doesn't it? Let's get some orange glow going in that lamp as well. Let's do that. So we'll grab some of this tangerine, pick up some white. And we'll just get a little bit of colour going in there. We'll have it more sort of thick at the bottom, maybe just phase it out a little bit going up the top. So it's a bit darker at the bottom. I'll cover that up a bit. There we go. Okay. And then we could put a little bit of silver onto the lamppost with this Sugar and Crumbs fine silver. If we wanted to, we could put a little bit on there, a bit of sparkle. Maybe it's being caught in the moonlight or something. There is actually a moon and some stars in another set. Hopefully Marion's watching and she can tell us what it is. But so if you wanted to put the moon and stars on as well, you could. And so I'm just kind of picking up this silver with my cocoa butter and just sort of dabbing it in place really. Around this bit here, then it looks a little bit like the light shining because it's becoming quite sort of a bit sparkly against the grey, which is quite nice. Especially in that middle bit there where it really would be quite bright. Okay, and I'll just grab some more cocoa butter. So you have to kind of scoop it. That's all I can describe this as. You're not going to really be able to do much else with it other than get your cocoa butter, grab some of the sparkle and just scoop it up. But it will just make our lamppost look a little bit less matte and a bit boring. We can go for it with this little fine silver. So it's sparkling in the moonlight and all that. See how that's changing already? Are we amazed by it changing? Right. Why is the reindeer under a lamp? Oh, I'll let Kelly answer that one. Donna, she'll come up with some reasonable excuse why it's there, I'm sure. He's tired. In fact, we're going to give this one the red nose, actually. This is Rudolph. He's definitely tired then. Lovely. Right, let's do his nose. Why not? We did it brown, but we don't want it brown, we want it red. So we can change it, we can paint over the top of it. That's easy to do. Let's get a brush and grab a bit of red. There we go. That's better. There you go. We've got our Rudolph there now, haven't we? Excellent. Somebody would have picked that up, wouldn't they? You can imagine if you put that on a cake, someone goes, and then have a red nose. I know it's not very helpful, is it? Right, I'm just getting myself another bit of kitchen roll here because I'm doing a lot of brush cleaning tonight. Right, okay, let's put a bit more cocoa butter in here. I'm going through probably a bit more cocoa butter than usual because it's so cold. It's all setting very quickly. So I'm going through a tiny bit more than usual, but nothing too drastic. Right, let's go around this side. Let's start doing something with the reindeer's ears. So we're going to grab, what brush have I got here? 3. I don't want that. So let's go down to paintbrush 1, which has got glitter in it. So let's get that out, otherwise he's going to have glittery ears, which may or may not be a trouble for somebody, but it might be for somebody else. All right, let's grab a bit of this pink and a bit of white. So we'll pale it down a bit. This is called blush pink, which is a nice colour. And I'll just pop that in the middle of his ear. Like that. And then I think we're going to paint some on this side as well. There we go. And that's then the top of his ear. That's better. Okay. And I might just run a little bit of brown down there just so that makes a bit more sense. Okay, right, now we've got a brown colour here. Let's make that a little bit darker. I'm doing everything I can to try and blend this, but because it's so cold, it's not blending very well, but we will keep going. He'll still look lovely at the end, don't we? Okay, under his chin. Around here, around his neck. Let's see if we can make that a bit darker still. So I'm just using a bit more cocoa butter than usual to just try and help me a little bit. There we go. Right, let's go down the side of his leg so we can bring that out a bit. Let's make his hoof darker because we want to be able to see that. And then these, let's think, we'll go along the bottom of this actually. I'll tell you why, we'll make sure we've got a little bit of extra dark down the bottom. And we'll do the spots on the back of him. So we're just going to use dark brown, but I need a bit more because it's not showing up, so let's make it darker. So the spots are already on there, so I'm just going to put my paintbrush inside these little spots. Okay. Oh, got too much on there. Okay, there we go. That's not too bad, is it? Right. Yeah, someone's just said you could do a non-Christmas scene with this. Yeah, you could do the cats. There's the cat one you could put under the lamppost, or yeah, anything you wanted to do like that, you could, no problem. Just make his tail a bit darker on that side so you can see it. Okay. And then we will just put a little dot in his eye. Actually what we'll do is we'll paint this bit black. On both sides. This is when he starts to look a bit more normal. There we go, he's got a lovely face. Back to the 00 nozzle and some dark grey, so not black, dark grey, and we can just mark his mouth in here with this colour. Just be careful with this, because if you do it in black it looks too strong, so do it in dark grey. And if you make a mistake, you paint over it. Simple as that. Oh, let's grab some, well, I seem to have got silver in everything now. All right, let's grab a little bit more of that and just tone that down a bit. Oh, I've just gone a bit too far. So if you've gone too far, you just take your Cornish cream and just push the colour back. It's nice and easy to do. You don't need to start scratching away at it or anything. It's just going to come off itself. Okay. Right, let's go and get some more red. So let's make his hat a bit redder now, and then we can have another go at those decorations. So I'll just get that off. Let's go darker. There we go, up here. So really start to make this hat stand out now. It's actually working better to kind of dab the colour on with this sort of thing, so that we actually get some sort of shading going on. There we go, that stands out nicely. Just going to make this a little bit darker on one side on his nose. That's good. And then with these, we'll come back down these again. Can you see how much stronger the colour's getting now? It's going on to its second layer. So suddenly this colour is becoming very strong. Oh, I've missed the connecting bit there. I must do that. I'll do that in a minute. Let's see how much more vibrant that looks than it did at the start. Same with this bit here. Okay. So you just go straight over this bit here, even if there's a bit of snow. You can probably hear somebody singing in the background, and that is the man next door. See, the unit next door to me has suddenly decided to start singing. He probably has no idea he's now doing it live on Facebook. That's fine. Okay, right. It's all happening down here, isn't it, today? Let's go back over here, and we're just going to grab some more of this white, and we're just going to tidy this up now. So we're just going, just to make sure we've got really good coverage on this. Because if you don't put down two layers, sometimes what you find is that you can actually see the navy through it. We're trying to avoid that. We don't really want to see the navy blue through this. We want it to be white, which does mean that you do need to put a couple of layers on it. That's quite normal for a strong colour background. But you can see the difference. You know, I've been through all this evening. You can see the difference doing a stronger colour as a background. Don't do white. White doesn't help you, whereas doing the coloured background does help you. It helps you enormously. Right, I'm just going to go around the edge of his eyes with the darker colour. Not so he ends up with goggles, but so we end up with a bit more going on it. We don't want him to have goggles at this stage. There we go, but we do actually need to see his eye sockets, which we can now see. Kelly would be laughing at me if she was down here now. I would be pulling faces. Right, let's get that down there. Come on, Rudolph, work with me. There we go. That's it. There we go. Just going to trim that back a tiny bit. Get my Cornish cream out and just go over that again. There we go. That's better. Right, a little bit more darker pink on the base of his ears. Okay, I forgot that connector bit again, didn't I? Let me do that now with the gold. See, I haven't had to go over the gold again. The gold's fine. It doesn't need a second coat. So you do get really good coverage with this Wonder Dust stuff. Okay. Right. Now I'm going to do that centre of his eye, and for that I'm going to use a dotting tool. Before I do that, I'm just going to make sure I've actually got a bit of white mixed up here that's actually white and not every other colour under the sun. So I'm just going to mix up everything that's there. It's just about done it. And then this is a dotting tool. So a dotting tool is like a nail art tool, and on the end of it you can see there's these little tiny balls. They're really tiny, but they're ever so good for doing spots on things. Well, I find they are. We've got these in sets of 5, and they've got all different sizes, and I teach a course on using them as well, which is really quite nice to do. So something to think about for the future. So let's grab some of this, and we're just going to put a tiny little spot on his eye, which will change everything because he'll suddenly look like he's alive. There he is. Happy days. Let's see what's on that brush. I just want to find out what colour's on that brush. Right, just need to stick a tiny bit more Cornish cream under his chin and go in and grab some more gold because his bell needs blinging up because it's not very gold. It needs to be more gold so we can see it. And then I've missed a tiny bit of hair just round the side of him there, which I need to do. There you go, that makes more sense. Okay, right, let's go back to the dotting tool for the moment. So if we wanted to put some snow down, then I'm going to use my dotting tool. And all I'm going to do is take it like this, and I'm going to do this straight over the top. Now, if I tried to do this with a paintbrush, I would not get round dots. I'd get everything but, to be perfectly honest with you. So I find this excellent, this tool. For doing eyes and doing snow, I think this has become essential kit. I didn't even know about them until about probably a year ago, and I was looking at a different painting class, and I came across this Mandela, I've got to say it right, work, and I thought, gosh, that's really interesting. I can see how that can really work with cake. So ever since then, I've been a bit obsessed with these dotting tools. So, as you can see, it does make a huge difference. Right, let's go to the Wonder Dust Snowstorm, and we're going to use one of the bigger brushes here. So we've got paintbrush number 3. We're going to grab some of the Snowstorm, grab some cocoa butter, grab some Snowstorm. So what this will do, this will just kind of bling up the snow a bit. What we don't want to do is bling out the whole thing. We want to bling out some things. Otherwise the whole thing will get too much. So we don't want to do that. So we want to, say, bling up the snow, maybe bling up the, we don't want to bling up the reindeer. Well, we could put a bit of white on his nose so it looks like it's kind of reflecting a little bit. But this and the silver then will pick up really nicely. And also it will be a different white against the, but you need to put the white down first, otherwise you're not going to get decent level of coverage. It will just vanish. We don't want that. Right, now I'm going to just make my brush splay a bit more. There we go. Okay. What else do I need to do? I think I'm nearly there. Not much more to go. Bound to spot something in a second. When you do something like this, I have to keep going back and checking it to make sure I've not missed anything. Okay. You could put some dots on the ground if you want to. You don't just have to have them stop there. If you want to, you could put some more out there. going to put a little bit of, so I could put a line and a dot on his nose just to indicate light, or just a line. I could take my dotting tool and I could just put a little dot on his nose as well. I could also use the other side of the dotting tool because there's different sizes, which I think makes quite a nice change as well. So not having the same size dots works well. And you can also go in and grab some of the Wonder Dust, and you can also use that as well. So you've got a few blingy stars amongst there as well, so that not all the stars are exactly the same. So you could certainly do some different ideas there. Right, okay, let me bring this into the middle so we can have a look at that rather than the total mess that I've got next to me. I'm just going to blow the candle out so that I've done it and I don't forget. Right, there we go. So that's another idea for Christmas for you, using a load of different patchwork cutters. So this is Reindeer. It's also Stag and Snowflake. That's what we've used the Snowflake for. And then we've used, these are Christmas middies. So I've used those to kind of look like, sort of interpret as if it was in a garden or something. And then we've got the lamppost has come from Countryside, and I cut out the reindeer tonight so that the reindeer was forward, because I embossed the lamppost, but if I tried to emboss the reindeer over the top, I'd have had his friends as well. I didn't want his friends, I just wanted to have him on his own. So that's why I've then cut him out of the patchwork cutter. So don't forget, he comes as a range, and I've literally just rolled it out over the top and just gone round with my finger like that until I've got him out. And then I've tipped him out. I did have to trim him a little bit with the knife, but nothing particularly horrendous. It wasn't that difficult to do. And then the snowflakes have come from the Stag and Snowflake. And that's part of the other kit. That's the non-Bambi kit, so I keep calling it. And that's it. So there you go. So that's nice and easy, isn't it? It's very simple. It's very sweet. And it's just something a little bit different to think about. So when you've got your patchwork cutters, have a look across the board at what you've got in your sets and see if you can mix and match them a little bit. See if you can create your own sort of scenes. This, to be honest, I just sort of sat looking through my bag going, what makes sense here? What can I put with what? And I think this is really quite sweet, quite different. He's having a little rest under the lamppost and he's looking at the decorations that someone's put in the garden. So yeah, something a little bit different there. So I hope that you've enjoyed that. I will take a photograph of it and I will put it up onto Patchwork Cutters Club so you can see it. And it will also go up onto my Instagram and Facebook pages as well, so everybody else can have a look. And if you want to copy it, then you're very welcome to just follow along if you want to. All the videos that Marion and I have recorded are in the featured section of this page. So when you go to the top of the page, if you press featured, you'll actually find all the videos, because people have gone, we can't find the videos. Well, that's where they are. They're in featured. So if you go to the top of the page, press featured, you'll see them in there. And when Marion does one, I put it in there for her. She's probably not realised yet. I've been doing it for her. Anyway, no comment. It's got my hat. So for those of you that didn't join me at the start, it's very cold and I like to paint with my hat on my head. So this is my other hat that I've been wearing. So I think the other one was my brown hat. Today it's my blue hat. So anything to do to keep warm. So why not, eh? No one's watching, so it doesn't matter. Apart from everybody on Facebook, I don't mind. So further information about cocoa butter painting kits, patchwork cutters, all those kinds of things, you'll find those on my website. Let's put those up there now. Nikki and Kelly have both been putting links up tonight as well, so if you wanted to see any of those links, then just scroll back through it once this video is finished. Just remember what I said now about postage. So Royal Mail is on strike tomorrow and the next day, which means there's now massive delays to get more stuff out. So if you place an order, that's fine, but there's no guarantees you'll get it before Christmas now. So you'll have to paint it next Christmas, or you'll have to get the lamppost and put a cat underneath it for Valentine's Day. Yeah, you see those lovely little cats, if you put the tails together at the back, make a very nice heart. So maybe you could do 2 cats sat under a lamppost for Valentine's Day. So there's another little idea there for you. So I need to consult with Marion when I speak to her next to decide when I'm going to come back onto Patchwork Cutters, but that is it now for 2022. So I'd like to wish you all a very happy Christmas, and I hope that you have a very nice new year. I will be back but we will let you know when that's going to happen. So remember what I said about when Marion puts up an event and it asks you if you're going or you're interested. If you click that button, you'll get a notification from Facebook to remind you, because we don't tend to turn up at the same time. We tend to be a little bit all over the place. And this is the first evening one that we've done on here. So we'll just try a different one tonight just to see how we get on. So I'm going back home now to see the lovely Kelly. So Kelly, if you're watching, can you put the kettle on, please? Make me a cup of tea. And I will see you in a minute. Thanks very much, everyone. And I will see you all again next year. Have a lovely time. See you soon. Bye.